because what you, the unsung heroes in the wastewater industry, do matters. Every Wednesday, join me, Suzanne Chin Taylor, the DooDoo Diva, a longtime veteran of the wastewater, trenchless, and civil infrastructure industry, as I interview guests who are making an impact on how we manage and operate systems for conveying and treating wastewater. I'll also be speaking with representatives of organizations that are utilizing disruptive or new technologies, and executives who are going to share how to be successful and sustainable in our vital industry. So whether you want to learn about the latest trends in technology in treatment or trenchless, gain tips on training and retaining great talent, or simply how to be more efficient, productive, or profitable, this podcast is for you. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the DooDoo Diva Smells Like Money podcast. We have the pleasure of continuing the visit that we started a few months back with Lee and Aaron from Ace Tank Services from the Vancouver metro area. What was the name of that town again? Aldergrove, BC. And so as we began to talk in our last episode, when we finished up, the gents and I continued a dialogue, and I realized, wow, there was so much here to talk about that we really needed to bring out to the public to hear, that I think needed to be shared. And so they were gracious enough to stay on board and just continuing our conversation. And so this episode is the continuation of that fascinating dialogue. And so guys, thank you for staying on the line with me. And what we're going to focus on today is something that you've done exceedingly well. And that is building a winning organization and taking care of that transition, which I know is very difficult for a lot of companies, to go from that mom and pop, that small shop, to a growing enterprise, and really setting the foundation for taking it to the next level. And so that's what I really want to focus on, of what we were discussing before, right after that break, is that you started out, you were a couple people, and now, you tell me you have a staff of, 18, you've got 9 septic trucks, right? And 4 hydrovacs. And you've started to dip your toe, maybe not even dip your toe, but you're really making headway into some municipal and larger contracts. And so what I want you to share with the audience is what you have done in order to make that transition, to differentiate yourself and expand and diversify from not just being that typical septic installer service company into now offering all these other services. So in backing up, how did you come into, and I think this started with the previous owners, doing hydrovac work, and telling us how that all came about and now where it's going?
Yeah, I think it all started, you'd have with the septic trucks, your customers would inquire if you provided more service. So they may have other properties. So the original owner would be pumping out catch basins and interceptors with the septic truck. But you can understand that creates quite a bit of headache, because you can't mix the two loads. So you'd have to do, one day would have to be fully septic, and then the next day would have to be only sand and sediment. And you'd have to wash out in between before mixing the materials. So it just made sense to purchase a hydrovac truck exclusively to service those customers and that side of the business.
So who was your first? Aaron was sharing with me that he believed that your first customer was some car washes, and that was kind of what really started this whole process or this journey.
Yeah, so you'd be servicing customers, and their businesses would be car washes or commercial buildings, and you'd be sucking out the sump pits, the car washes. So then you'd have tons and tons of sediment and all that sand, and you'd have to dispose of it properly. So the car wash pits was really what catapulted us into the hydrovac business.
Oh, wow. Okay. So then where did it go from there? Aaron was mentioning about, municipal things for for hydrovac, and how did you get into that? What did you have to do to be competitive or be known as someone that could service municipalities?
Yeah, it's just funny how things, even just explaining it to you, I don't really realize it until someone asks me. But you'll be doing a job, and next you know you've cleaned the basin, but now the problem is down in the lines. So how are you going to clean the lines? So then you have to go out and get a line flushing truck. Well, now you've cleaned the lot. Now you've cleaned the lines, but now there seems to still be an issue. So now how do you solve that issue? Now you need pipe cameras and inspection equipment to locate the problem. So next thing you know, you've gathered all this equipment just to service your customers better, and now you're in a position where you can start taking on more work. And then at that point, you can bid on larger jobs. And we did end up getting this for the city, cleaning all the catch basins in the whole city.
Wow.
So once we won that project, we've been doing that for over a decade now. That's 12,000 catch basins per year. So you get pretty good at it.
Oh, I imagine. And, how quickly did you have to add more and more trucks?
Yeah. So it was, well, as soon as we got that contract, that was probably a whole year just for that one truck. So we instantly had to add another one. And anyone who's operated hydrovac trucks knows they break down all the time. So we always have a spare.
What makes them break down all the time? Like, how can you kind of stave that off?
You want to stay on top of your maintenance, but you're working with sand and grit, and then you have moving parts, hydraulic hoses, everything works together, and it just is the natural wear and tear of the equipment, and everything just. Anything time you deal with hydraulics, it's a problem.
Hey, Aaron, do you operate the hydrovac, or are you strictly on the septic side, or how do you do that with your staff? Are they cross-trained and can operate either or?
So I don't currently operate a hydrovac. I have in the past. I did in the oil patch for a season or two. I'm quite happy maintaining my trajectory in the wastewater side of things. That being said, I'm actually gonna have to brush up on my hydrovac operations because as I think I had mentioned that moving forward and bidding on some of these bigger jobs, before Lee took over the company, and he's been gracious, him and his wife have been gracious enough to kind of show me their vision for the company. So with how casual it was with our previous owners, and don't get me wrong, nothing negative at all. They had an amazing culture. It was just amazing. I can't say enough about them and what they brought to the table. I think they were doing a bit of disservice to themselves to move forward and really catapult them by not having a proper safety program in place. And that safety program moving forward, which Lee has actually tapped me on the shoulder to kind of head up and be a major part of, is going to really allow us to bid on a lot bigger jobs and really not just put our equipment to the test, but really get our equipment out there doing these bigger jobs and making a bigger name in that side of the industry, in the hydrovacing side. So yeah, I mean, the diversification of our company is really only going to start, it's going to grow really big over the coming years, I feel.
So what does that safety program entail? Like, what I know that you had mentioned that there was, a requirement, on a governmental side, but what facets are you incorporating into that?
Honestly, we're building it from the ground up. I actually do have a background in safety. While I was in the oil patch, in the winter, I would operate a vacuum truck, and in the summertime, I would work for a safety company. And I was 2 courses shy of my NCSO, which is a National Construction Safety Officer certification. So we're taking that and we're going to develop a living, breathing safety program that is going to allow us to bid on those jobs. It's from the ground up. It's going to be policies and procedures, standard operating procedures, scope of work, field level risk assessments, drug and alcohol policies, you name it, whatever is required by law. After you have 20 employees, I mean, this is going to be a very involved program that's going to allow us to bid on those bigger jobs, because that's the mandate when you get onto those prime contractor sites, and where safety is a key facet in the job, then that's what's required to bid on those jobs. Sometimes that's all that's holding a company back is, oh,
Really?
sorry, you don't have a safety program, we can't even
Oh.
tender your bid.
Wow. Wow. So, as we're talking about going after these bigger municipal jobs, so how did you segue from being, when you're doing septic, you're primarily doing small commercial entities and residential. How have you as a company marketed or sold yourself or gotten known to be considered to go bid on those municipal jobs? How have you been finding that work?
So yeah, a lot of it will be a word of mouth, and
Really? Okay.
yeah. So we also started simple things like advertising your services on your trucks. So when you're deckling your pickup trucks or your work trucks, you could
Okay.
you could do a list of your services on the truck. We also provide like pamphlets or kind of like a menu to a lot of our customers. So that will explain all of our services and our pricing. And if we find that if you break it down in a list like that, people really appreciate it. So we've done door-to-door sales. We do Google advertisements. We do yellow pages. What's our phone? It's like the phone book ads. So we do paper ads and newspapers. So it's been, you do have to kind of change your what you're known for. The last 40 years, aseptic company, and you change it into Ace Tank Services. Gives you a broader service providing, and it's caught on great, and our reputation has followed us into the next stage. And a lot of our customers use us on both sides of the business.
So what do you think as far as, you touched on marketing, of course, the subject that's near and dear to my heart. So what did you find as you were making this shift gave you the best return on investment for your marketing? What efforts seem to be working the best for you?
Probably Google Ads. I feel like,
okay.
Yeah, I feel like Google Ads for the percentage of our revenue monthly that I put into online ads. And we do follow up with our customers to find out, how did you hear about us? How did you find out about us? And online ads seems to be a leader.
Yes. Okay. That's what I'm hearing. It seems like everything is going to digital, but you're also using kind of some education-based selling with the pamphlets and the services. I love the idea of putting all the services on the truck. It becomes basically a rolling billboard for you. More people should be doing that, and make it work for you. Your phone number, your website, so as far as we've talked about this, that anyone can find a pumper. Anyone can find if they look, like you were saying, on a Google ad and do a search, a pumper truck, anybody can find a hydrovac that maybe they want to have bid on a job. So what do you think has been your secret as far as, the way that you do your client engagement so that they're not just buying the service, they're buying you, we talk about locking in the client loyalty. And especially for municipal, because with municipal, I'm sure it's the same way in Canada as it here in the United States. A lot of times it's just based on low bid. But sometimes there are ways to get around that if you have a champion on the inside who just really loves you, that makes sure that you are the vendor of choice. So what have you done to ensure client loyalty?
Well, I think we have a we have a good retention rate for our employees here at Ace. So many of our guys have been here for longer than me, over a decade. Our main hydrovac operator has been here for 18 years. So, and we do try, our customers build a relationship with our drivers. And so we find that I try to always send the same guys back to the same jobs. And so these people come very familiar with the jobs. And we like to feel comfortable. Most of our customers feel comfortable enough that they don't even need to be there when we arrive on site.
Wow.
They know they can just call us, the job will get done, and it'll get done properly.
So with saying that, keeping the same team with a lot of operators with a lot of longevity with you, what is your secret? Obviously, you found, great talent in Aaron here, but what's been your secret to retain? Anybody can find and hire them and train them, but then the hard part is retaining them. And we're all suffering with this. What are they calling it now? The Great Resignation. First we had to worry about the silver tsunami with all of the old guys retiring out. We still have to worry about that, but now we have the young people leaving, going to green pastures. What's your secret to being able to keep people as long as you have? What do you do?
Yeah, this is gonna probably contradicts a little bit of what we talked about at the beginning of the episode, because it is the family mentality. And you want that person to feel like they're a part of the team, they're part of the family. You do anything for them. My guys could call me and say their dog's sick, and I'll move all their jobs so they can go home and take care of their dog. You're not a number here. You're a part of the team, and that, I know that's going to be a hard thing to keep as you try to go corporate, and what we talked about before about larger projects and growing. But we do Christmas dinners and we do bonuses, and I follow up with the guys, and we all have dinner together, and we do barbecues at the yard after work. And any of my guys, and that's how I felt, and that's why I love this company, and that's why I purchased this company. It's like we're a really big family. We're really tight knit, and we all look out for each other, and we pay good.
Well, that usually helps, but sometimes pay isn't always the main thing that keeps people around. It's feeling like they're valued and that they get a way in. And I think some companies, as they grow, like you were saying, it contradicts you want to grow. But I don't think that losing that family feel and that camaraderie and that work culture, that has to disappear just because you're growing financially and employees. I truly believe that workplace culture that attracts the right people to you, if management really works at it and supervisors really work at keeping that alive, that does not have to disappear. It's that stakeholder mentality instead of corporate mentality. That, it's important that we make a profit at the end of the day, but not when it means sacrificing or stepping on the neck of somebody else.
Yeah, guys want to feel like, and they also don't ever want to feel like they're stuck in a job. They want to feel like this is a career. So,
right.
Sending them to the pumper shows to learn more information, letting them, when they have ideas, backing them and supporting them in their ideas, and we're really listening to them and helping them grow as people and achieve their dreams. Because that's is all you kind of want, and you want people to never feel like it's just a dead end job.
That's fantastic, because one of the things they talk a lot about it is the triple bottom line, and having that triple bottom line model of people, planet, profits in that order. And I think mom and pop shops, that evolve, they get into business because they want to operate that way. And then as they grow, that kind of, it flip-flops. And it seems to me like the way that you're retaining good people is you've kept that people, planet, profits. You're keeping that priority in the right order. You do well by doing good. And so that's really, really commendable. Something that I don't know if it was you when we first were talking or Aaron mentioned, is that you really take pride in your people, in that having a diverse skill set under one roof that allows you to build off of each other, and not, this is mine and I'm not going to share it with you. That you don't allow that to happen. Is that an apt description?
No, yeah, you never can't be afraid, can never be afraid to share information. A lot of people wouldn't, you want to keep your trade secrets because you're worried your guys will leave and start their own business, or and it's actually interesting in our industry. If you become an authorized person, you have to be mentored and kind of signed in by another authorized person. So it's created this kind of little club where people don't want to share information. They don't want anyone else to get into the club, and because then you're just basically training your competition.
But if you train that person and you make a good life for them, why would they want to leave? Because not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur. A
No,
lot of folks, they're fantastic, technicians, and they think, oh, I could do this. I could go off on my own. And then they go off on their own, and then they find, man, all this administrative stuff, this isn't fun.
yeah,
This isn't fun because now I'm the boss and I'm not getting to go out in the field and do the thing that I love, that made me want to get into this business in the first place. So it's kind of, you have to know, do you really have the mettle to make that shift from technician to entrepreneur? Obviously you did, Lee, but yeah, but
yeah,
not everybody has it. And you know what? That's okay.
yeah.
That's okay. That
Yeah.
they can contribute to a company's growth without having to be the owner or the boss, and make a really good living at it. So yeah, so thanks again for, just being who you are. I
Ah,
honor you,
well, I
thank
appreciate you for bringing light to the industry. It was definitely
thank you.
there is definitely a stigma about the wastewater industry. People who work and do this job, they're thought about a certain way. So I really appreciate what you're doing to let us get our
Absolutely.
story.
Absolutely. Because I talked to a plumber about this too, that he said, we really, as an industry, need to change that perception of, I don't know if they call them in Canada, but the plumber, you have this thing in your mind. You're not going to say the word, but the old, dirty, scruffy BC plumber in
Yeah.
your bathroom. And that's not who we are anymore. Technology and tools have allowed us to evolve and be clean, be high tech. And, even like you were saying, today's operator, my gosh, he has to be mechanically inclined. He has to be strong. He has to be able to read gauges and tools. And he may even have to know how to operate a tablet with software for fleet tracking and job costing and estimating. And so we're not that scruffy lot.
I think the funnest thing is you get to go into somebody's house and be their superhero. That's a really
Yes,
cool
because
feeling.
that's what I say, in my newsletter, when I talk about this podcast. My last statement is, thank you for what you do, because without the people that are in this industry, we'd all be sick and dying. People do not realize that what is going on underneath the streets or in the backyards and the septic tanks, how vital it is to our health. And so you guys are my superheroes. You're the unsung heroes. And it's just like, I always point to this guy behind me who's my hero, Gandhiji. And one of the things is he was, they were moving forward for their independence. One of his very famous quotes is, sanitation is more important than freedom.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so true. So true, that because without it, we'd all be sick and not be able to do our jobs. We would be, basically drowning in our own stuff. You and I were laughing because I think we both bought that same t-shirt at the show, at
Yes,
the
we
web
did.
show, that said, we get paid to deal with your, and then it had a
Yeah.
poop emoji, without
That's
saying
right.
it. And that's true. We get paid to do with it. And to me, I don't think there's any better industry in the world. This is one reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, guys, is because it's been an industry that has been so good to me. And I want to be able to tell the story about what we do as people every day to keep it flowing, keep it healthy, the technologies out there, and why we are important, and that why everybody needs to salute their hat, to salute us for what we're doing, but also to make sure that we're delivering information so that your peers tuning into this Maybe they picked up a nugget about what you did about your safety program, or looking for municipal jobs, and it all started with a car wash. Who would have known? Somebody
Right.
might be able to take that and run with it. And it's how we all grow and do our jobs better. So, thank you for your transparency and being, like you were saying, don't be afraid to share your knowledge.
That's right. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you. You remember, you can't keep it unless you're willing to give it away, right?
Exactly. That's right.
Exactly. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you at another show. I might be presenting again this year, who knows? But thank you for coming on and sharing your story and sharing your knowledge. I so appreciate you. And so for those of you who tuned in that would like to know more, you can visit acetankservices.ca to learn more about Aaron and Lee. Check them out, connect with them on LinkedIn, and just until next time, keep it flowing. Thanks for joining me, the DooDoo Diva, on this week's episode of Smells Like Money. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or simply tell a friend about the show, because that would help us out a lot too. If you're an industry expert and would like to be considered as a guest for the show, email guest@smellslikemoneymedia.com. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the topics you'd like to talk about, and we'll be in touch. For more information about our family of marketing, international business development, and workforce training companies dedicated to the empowerment and education of our industry, call us at 760-217-8010 or email me at raven@creativeraven.com. Until next week, a big shout out to all my industry friends and those who will be. You're my superheroes.